Today's episode of the Just Keep Swimming podcast is brought to you by Audible. Audible is an online audiobook and podcast service offering over 10,000 books and the ability to listen to your favorite podcasts, including the Just Keep Swimming podcast. I personally use Audible all the time and suggest you take a listen to Intentional Living by John C. Maxwell. In this book, Mr. Maxwell shares his story on how he was able to live a noble and purposeful life and gives you tips and tricks so you can do the same. So please start your 30-day free trial now at www.audibletrial.com/JKS podcast, all lowercase. Again, that is www.audibletrial.com/JKS podcast. And if you have any more questions or concerns for the Just Keep Swimming podcast, you're always welcome to reach out to us on Facebook or at Instagram at justkeepswimming_podcast, or you can email us at jkspodcast702@gmail.com. And with that out the way, let's dive into it. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the Just Keep Swimming podcast. This is your friend, your boy, your host, Mr. Adrian Jackson, and we back at it again with another great episode for you. And you already know who with me. It's the man, the myth, the legend. It's Mr.
Toi. Yes, bringing it back again. You know, after Valentine's, I gave myself some love, so
Right.
now we're back at the toi.
Nah, I love it, bro. I'm glad you brought it back, man. I've been missing that, man. It's been Donovan Jackson and Captain Capper for a while, so I'm glad you brought that back, man.
I had to cap for a little bit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But so we have a very special episode coming for you guys today, and we have some very special guests with us, and I'm actually going to introduce them. Let Mr. 13 introduce them, so go ahead and take it over.
So as you guys know, I go to church every Saturday usually, so to help out, you know, get in line with God, and I decided to bring my pastor and his wife. So bringing to the mic, we have Mr. James Mistel, Pastor James, and then we have First Lady Ivri Mitchell.
Hey guys, how you guys doing?
Guys?
Doing great.
Doing good. How about yourself?
Un toi. I like that.
Yeah. French 1-3.
Okay.
Yes, you got it in all different languages, actually.
Okay.
I got Moja Tatu. I got English with 1-3. Yekse with the Persian.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes. Okay.
You know, just gotta change it up a little bit.
Yeah. Keep
Switch
it
it up
fresh.
a little bit,
Keep it
get a
fresh.
little creative.
That
Right.
always.
Yeah, it's keeping it real unique. I love it, man. I love it. So, Mr. James, Miss Ivri, so
Yes.
the reason I want to bring you guys on today is, like you said, I know you've been a pastor for a while now.
Yes.
And I kind of just want to learn what it is to be a pastor and the journey that a pastor goes through. So before we even dive into it, though, I know we're actually in this special location. We're not in our normal studio we record at.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you can explain where we are right now.
Well, right now, you guys are in one of our recovery homes, or ministry homes is what we call it.
Okay.
And basically what it is that we help people who are struggling with addiction, struggling homelessness. Some people are just recently got out of jail. And so what we do is we provide them a really nice, safe space
Right.
to be able to come and heal, come to, rebuild their lives, start over again, you know. It's a really, so this is where you're at right here. It's in one of our recovery homes.
Right.
And we have people from all walks of life come in. And inside this house, there's no judgment. You know, it's just all about your journey and what you're trying to do. And what we bring, as well as the house, is we bring spirituality. Because we believe God and sobriety is what's going to put your life together and bring you to that. Yeah, they really do. They go to that next level. So this is where you're at. This house in particular is called AI.
Why?
Well, I guess it's like Hutois, right? Each house has a particular biblical city name. It really goes back to my journey as a pastor. I feel like the book of Joshua and the Joshua character in the Bible speaks to my spirit. He was the protege, or the person who followed after Moses.
Oh, okay.
And so Joshua actually got to conquer the promised land. And so, make a long story short, each of these houses represent a city within the promised land that Joshua conquered.
I
love it.
You see what I'm saying?
I love it.
Nice thing.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing. That's a great thing.
That's why this particular house is AI, which is the second city that he conquered. The first house that we have is named Jericho. And then we have Jerusalem, and then we just opened up our fourth house, and that city name, or that house name, is Hebron.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So that's where you at, guys.
Yeah.
That's
so every
beautiful.
time we open up a house, it'll be named after the next city that was conquered. And if you think about it, that's really cool, because if you're thinking about conquering the city of Las Vegas for God, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're conquering this city. You're trying to subdue this addiction thing that's going on in the city,
Right.
this epidemic that's across the United States.
Right.
And so we're just opening up houses all across the city to try to conquer.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, and that's needed in Vegas for sure. Definitely for what our city is mainly known for, you know. So I think that right there is very epic. And I do like the vibe when I walked in here. You know, it's very friendly. You know, everybody spoke. I love the quotes you guys have. The raw, all dreams are possible. Always stay humble and be kind. Like it was really touching my heart. So I really love this scenery. So thank you guys for having us here. I truly
Not
appreciate
at all,
it.
man. Yeah, definitely. So
I feel like the names also kind of like sanctify the
The place.
location in
Yes.
general.
Yes,
Because like it
yes.
just brings it like towards the focus of like the Book of God.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And a lot of
Yeah.
people say when they come into the houses, like our houses, that there's a spirit of peace.
Yes.
There's a spirit of God here.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's really special, because, you know, when you come into a house, that's what you want to feel, especially after you've been through trauma of addiction and trauma of homelessness. You want to feel like when you walk into the place, like, I can take a deep breath.
I can relax here.
I can relax here and get myself on track. So
Right. Beautiful. I love it. I love it. So let's go ahead and dive a little deeper now. So Pastor James, I'm just curious on why did you decide to become a pastor?
Well, pastoring is I just love it. You know, it wasn't really necessarily a thing that I thought I was going to do. In the beginning of my journey, and you know, I'm a musician, so I was heavily involved in church. But it wasn't like teaching or anything like that. It was purely, you know, music. But then when I became a teenager, I believe God revealed something to me that was totally opposite of what I was doing. And he was like, one day you're going to be speaking in front of people. Now it's very how should I say it? I'm an introvert. So for me to be speaking in front of people,
Yes, I feel that.
it was like conflict. It was like, really, I thought, you know, if I was going to do things for God, it would be music. But you know, that wasn't what God's plan was.
Oh, wow.
So what I really love about pastoring is the fact that I can help people.
Yes.
God called me to help people be who He created them to be.
Right.
To encourage them, to, you know, bring them to a new level, give them a better understanding of who God is and what the role of the church is.
Right.
Because through the years and through the centuries, the church has been played many roles, but I think in society today, because of the lack of engagement of the church as a whole, they have a very bad rap, so to speak.
Right.
And so I believe that God has called me in this time, in this generation, to show the church differently. You know, to show it what God originally created it to be.
Right.
And so that is why, you know, pastoring is I can do that from the position of being a pastor.
Okay. No, and I truly agree with that. I love to hear it because, so I used to go to church a lot too with my other family, or my mom's side of the family, but there was a lot of times where I went and it just felt like it was a show.
Right.
Like it was a show. You had the steppers coming out, and then you always had the girl yelling up, and then the ushers walking with the white gloves. And I understand some of the stuff, but then a lot of it was like
a lot of tradition.
Yeah,
steeped in a lot of tradition and rituals.
Yeah, exactly. And I felt like something was always missing. So I guess I'm just curious, like, what makes your church different than most of the other churches out there, or the TV churches that people see?
We do have the traditional service, worship and praise. One of the main factors, I believe that our church is different, or the House of Judah is different, is the fact of its vision. It's a outreach church. So what that basically means is that our primarily is in the community. We will bring the church to the tunnels. We'll bring the church to the homeless encampments.
Beautiful.
We will meet them at the jail. We will meet them where they are. And not just a high and by situation, but we're going to do life with them. Like we have a street team that goes out every week, and we just give them coffee. We go to the encampments, we go to the park, and we give them coffee, we give them donuts, we sit and have a conversation with them, we look in them in the eyes, we call them by name,
right?
We really make them, feel human again.
I was just about to say they feel human again.
You know what I mean? Because they are truly forgotten.
And not just a statistic no more.
Yeah, they're not just or some, weird person from a different planet, and don't look at them, but truly be able to engage with them. And if they want to get off the street, let's get off the street. If you need, you need help, let's do that. Let's do life. Because if you look at Jesus' ministry, that's what he primarily did.
Right. Yeah, he got his hands dirty all day.
He got his hands dirty all day. And yet it can look like a show. I come from a religious background, and I get that. And so, but I think that our church in particular, House of Judah, is an outreach. That is why we exist, to help people be who God created them to be.
Right.
And so if you ever go to our worship, it's just people who are just being people.
Right.
They got issues.
And that's why I loved it when I came the first time. It was just like, oh, what do I wear? Oh, just come as you are. And I was like, okay.
But that's real though. So like I said, I used to go to Victory, and it wasn't like come as you are. It was like come as you are, but you gotta iron that shirt. And it was like, is that me coming as I am then though? Like if I have to look a certain persona. So I love that concept right there.
But one thing at Judah that's really cool is that you'll see people in sandals, or you'll see people in heels. You'll see people in a suit, and you'll see people in shorts.
Right.
You might see someone from the park that we ministered to that was homeless sitting in the seats.
Right.
We had a couple who came to our church for weeks. They would come from Sunset Park and walk all the way to our church on Saturday to worship. When they got there, they got hot coffee. People gave them hugs. They knew their names. And they came in, dirty. They came in, ruffled. It wasn't the best appearance.
Right.
But they were accepted in the church, and that's why they kept coming back.
Right.
Eventually, that couple decided to come in, and they lived with us for a while.
Oh, wow.
So it's all about like that trust factor and really accepting people like for who they are.
Yes.
Not just like talking the talk.
Right.
And then when it's time to walk the walk, you like, ooh, I don't know.
No, right.
Yeah.
And it's such a natural community at that too. It's that I don't feel like I'm kind of being like pressed or sold on anything to like, hey, how are you doing? But it's more, hey, how are you doing today? Like, thanks for coming to the church. Like,
sincere.
Sincere. It's sincere, and that's why I love it. That's why thank God that I found this spot. After all of the preconceived notions that I've come across before.
Right.
Yeah. That's one of the issues that as the church has been, the church is guilty in a lot of areas. You know what I mean, in terms of dealing with the generations that come, especially now. And even I believe even the church should be in the LGBTQ community. They should be right there engaging. Right. And loving on them and showing who Jesus is to them. You see what I'm saying? And so I that's what that's what makes us different. Right. That's what really, you know what I mean? We really engage in the community. And church is more than just the 2 hours every week.
Right. Yeah. Right, exactly. Yeah. And that's what I'm seeing today. Like you said, you took a trip, you delivered food, you know what I'm saying? You're at the halfway house right now, helping people out, giving love, showing love back. Like, it's a daily thing. It's 7 days a week.
Yeah. It's not just like, hey, we clocked in for like an hour and a half. And then the rest of the hours of the week, like the 300 some odd hours of the week, we just didn't do anything. We just waited for that next day to roll back around. Yeah, so you can't. That's not. I don't think that's really what Jesus meant when he said that we should congregate together and fellowship together. We should be trying to do that every day. And one of the ways we could do that is by reaching out and helping other people.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So that's gonna lead me to one of my next questions: is what is the difficulties that you guys do have running a church?
Well, it's definitely difficult, especially when you're living in what statistically is a post-Christian society.
That's an interesting term.
Yeah, I love the way you said that. Yeah,
statistically speaking, a regular attendee is once a month, as opposed to maybe 20 years ago, a regular attendee was every week. Right. And if you go further back into the baby boomers or pre-baby boomers, it was more of a Christian society. So speaking and just having a church and just speaking about Christ in this is definitely a difficult situation because everyone has their walls up. Everyone has preconceived notions of who God is, what God, which church do I gotta, just typical. And then a lot of people have church hurt, which is a very real thing. Yes. You know what I mean? Where pastors or spiritual leaders have abused their power or abused their influence and really took advantage of some of their members. So those are some of the challenges of the church, being a pastor, the all eyes on my family, and the judgment that comes with that. You know what I mean?
Right, you're scared to make a mistake, right?
Yeah. You get super judged, and even with my kids. So that kind of, is a challenge. I didn't really realize how much it was, because my call, I felt, well, this is for me, my family is, this is my family, but when, I started getting more and more involved into the ministry, I saw how sometimes they would attack my family or sometimes they would attack my wife, and those are the challenges that you have to, because you can't respond in a worldly. Keep it nice and clean. You want to take your pastor suit off and just get with it. You know what I mean? Like, why you coming at me and use all of those colorful words, but at the same time, you're representing someone else.
Right, you're bigger than that.
Yeah. And so the expectation of a pastor is to be bigger than that, regardless if the person is intentionally being a certain kind of way or not. Right. So those are the kind of challenges that, as a pastor that I face. Yeah.
How would you say that, what would be your mindset on moving past those challenges as it comes up? Like, if you are able to give it an example or make up an example or something, what would be your game plan in moving past some of those? Because you was an OG coming from Philly.
Well,
Philly, huh?
Yeah.
I guess for me, it's like I don't want to misrepresent Christ. My love for Christ is like, I just don't want to misrepresent him.
Right.
And so that's what's on my forefront. When things come my way, or when things come, towards my family, it's harder with my family,
right,
than it is with me personally. Because I feel like, man, my kids didn't ask for this.
Right.
They were born into it. And really, the family should be celebrated because we're trying to help people.
Right.
They really come after my kids at times. That's where it's challenging.
Right.
And really, it's just praying and just staying focused on understanding that, to do great things, there's great sacrifices.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, and fortunately, my kids at times is on the altar of other people's judgment and other people's criticism to try to get back at me.
Oh, wow.
And so, there was to give an example, there was a situation where, they were criticizing my boys about, the sneakers they were wearing.
Oh, wow.
And insinuating that, they're using their church money
to get Jordans.
Yeah, because that's
they weren't even Jordans though.
Yeah.
Let me just
the stereotype.
That's the stereotype.
But can I just interrupt? They weren't even Jordans, right? They were like Ross Dress for Less. You know what I mean? You went and got the deal. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not rich people, so we're like, oh, okay. And I'm like, you guys are talking about these sneakers? Are you being serious?
Yeah,
right.
It's like they're making up anything just to take a shot.
Just to take a shot.
Just to take a shot. Yeah.
What keeps me going is understanding that anytime you do anything good, there will be a certain amount of bad come at it.
Right.
And the more the more I push into the community, it that comes with the territory.
Yeah, because it's spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
So that's like something that you always have to recognize. Like, there's always, there's God, and then the devil always had an answer. All the way from the beginning of creation, he had an answer. You know what I mean? He always spoke the opposite of what God said. Right. So if you recognize that you're in this area of spiritual warfare, because now we're pushing, now we're leveling up, now we're trying to help other people, now we're trying to bring other people to Christ. Now we're trying to push into the community and help feed people and clothe people and do all of these things that God put in your heart to do. Remember, the devil is going to have a response.
Right.
He's not going to just sit idly by
and let it happen.
Let it happen. That's not his job,
He got a mission too.
He got
right.
And then they always say that when you're doing you're doing good when all the bad stuff starts to come. That means you're on the right path. It's like, okay, it's a resentment trying to stop me and slow me down. Like, if you weren't doing nothing good, you wouldn't have to worry about nothing bad happening because ain't nothing there. But I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So, Miss Ivri, correct?
Yes.
Make sure I said it right. So, what's the difficulties do you have being a pastor's wife?
I think...
Put the mic closer.
I think, contrary to popular opinion, pastors' wives hold a lot of hats, right? So they're doing a lot of things. People have a tendency to think that I just show up to church and, I'm fresh, I'm good. I was just home putting on my lipstick or something, right? They don't realize that before church, I pick people up for church. I pick up food for the food pantry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right? Like, okay, so I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm doing things to prepare, to get people to church, to get food to church, if there's an emergency in one of the recovery houses, I'll go over there because the pastor's at the church. He's at the church at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Doing a whole pre-service.
Doing his whole thing. Like, he has a Bible study. The other people are, coming into the church for prayer. He's talking to congregation members, things like that, which leaves me
to take care of everything else.
to pick up the ball and run. And I think a lot of people don't realize the sacrifice that pastors' wives do make in the busyness of trying to get things happening before church starts.
Right.
Then you get to church and, like, for instance, I sing in a praise team. So I guarantee you, I did 5 things. I went home and I changed out of my jeans into, something presentable for me to go up. And I immediately at 11:45 was needed on stage. And so it's just, I think it's the different levels of what you're doing, the multitasking that you're doing, that people don't realize that that's what you're doing.
Right.
So they just feel like you just sitting there and saying amen. And meanwhile, you have done 50 million things, and every pastor's wife knows this. You have done 50 million things before the service started.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
I've been to every street team that goes out. They go out on Tuesday. I have been there. I have helped serve coffee. I take my kids to Christian, it's like Christian Girl Scout, Boy Scouts, which is like Pathfinders. So I do all of that. I go to every Bible study. We have Bible studies here twice a week. I'm at the Wednesday one. I'm at the Thursday one, and I cook dinner. So I'm doing
the committee.
Right, right, exactly. So I think that the hardest thing is people not realizing how much you're actually doing, and the hardest thing is for you to do that much in 1 week.
Right.
Consistently.
Yeah, consistently. I love it.
Yeah, and it's for me, it's so needed. I know. I really don't know how I would be able to even minister and pastor a church without
a strong teammate.
Yeah. No, I mean, so it is definitely. It's definitely, I'm happy that God gave me Ivri to be able to do this. You know what I mean? Because without her,
no way.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap, man. It's a wrap. So,
I love it.
Yeah.
So, as Ivri was talking, I got the idea, like, how do you guys stay so consistent then? Like, how do you always constantly push through? Because like you said, it sounds like you're tired by noon. And you still got a whole day left, So I'm just wondering, like, what motivates you guys to keep flowing and pushing through all this?
And avoiding burnout.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're doing something you love, you're not going to get burned out.
And that's what he told me one time. I asked him to be like my...
Mentor,
yeah. He's like, do what you love, and you're not gonna get burnt out.
That's how we do with the podcast.
It's just a journey, right? When you're journeying through your passion and you're journeying through your gift set, it's not burnout.
Right.
I think burnout comes from doing something that you really don't like to do, or you're doing it for a different reason.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I need to do it to make money.
Exactly.
That's when you're going to get burned out.
That's beautiful.
But, for what me and Ivri does, this is what we do. I feel God called us together to, really do some good work here in Las Vegas.
Right.
That keeps us going.
Right.
Seeing the change in people's lives, seeing the people progress. That's what keeps us going, and so that's what helps me. Besides plugging in
with God, plugging in with prayer, plugging in with worship, focusing on the goal. A lot of people lose focus in the middle of the journey.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And sometimes when you lose focus, you don't have that thing to look forward to.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like you feel like you're mired in all of the things that go wrong or something that didn't work out, and then you get stuck in that little area.
Right.
As opposed to you being like, okay, well, this is just a temporary,
bump in the path.
Just like a bump in the path. Like, this has nothing to do with the vision or the goal or the mission. This is really just distraction tactics from the devil.
Right.
That's actually trying to stop me in my tracks, because there's going to be something great that I'm going to be able to do in my life, and he doesn't want me to get there.
Right.
So for me, it's focusing on You know, what is the goal? What is the vision that God has for you?
Right.
What is God trying to, what was the purpose? Like, and if you're on that right purpose and you're in that right will, then it's going to be really hard for you to burn out.
Yeah.
But it's just when you add all of that other stuff to it, to the mix, that's what causes burnout.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times relationships in general, you know, especially married couples, don't necessarily have a purpose for or a vision for their relationship.
Right.
Besides paying bills and besides raising kids and being together, they really don't have something that is bigger than themselves.
Right.
But God just, you know, but the way God creates it is, and for a male and a female, or a man and woman, is to be part of something that is bigger than themselves.
Right.
That collectively they need each other to be able to accomplish that purpose that God has created for them. So that helps us.
Deep.
You know what I mean, in our relationship, because now it's more than not just, hey, did you pay the bill? Hey, did you pay, you know, Netflix? And, you know, don't forget to pay Netflix. You know what I'm saying? It gets into this whole thing of, well, we're sacrificing certain things because we're accomplishing something bigger. You know, and you know, as we grow, you know, my kids are involved with the mission now. You know, my daughter, she's in nonprofit helping people out. My son wants to get into it, and you'll start to see over years. You start to see why God put you here and how you, as a family unit, can become such an impact in the community.
Right.
And that in itself helps the family, helps me and my wife stay together and be passionate about what we do. And, you know, it keeps it real fresh and real energetic and real, you know, real fun for us.
Yeah.
Right.
We have lots of fun.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
That was the thing that kind of got me, like, just to keep on line with the purpose, especially when we talked about burnout last year during that episode, and we like pre-recorded a couple.
Right.
But like after Pastor James told me like that tip of like, yo, if you're doing something you love for a purpose, then you shouldn't have burnout. And I had to remember my goal and switch my perspective on it so that I don't burn out anymore.
Yeah.
And then I think since then is when I started talking more and being more involved in the episode itself, and then the quality went up in tandem with you. And
jumped up, yeah.
Yeah, now we have a marketing director. Now we have a sponsor with Audible and stuff like that. So it's like
cool.
Picking up.
Yeah.
And then, you know, on the flip side of it, for me, it was trying to take control of everything and trying to make it run this way and run that way. And then it's like, I have a partner, let me use them.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So let me use my partner a lot better.
It's better than one.
Two is way better than one. And it makes it perfect. Like, you know, on the drive over here, we were both in the car yawning. Oh, it's a long drive,
This is far.
You know, went on a hike, long day at work.
Yeah, like, you should have saw the way I walked into his house after I got there to pick him up, and I just sat on the couch.
Slumped over.
Tired. Yeah.
But it was like, man, the energy gonna come. Let's just get to the biggest purpose right now. You know? Let's go learn another story. You know, let's get another great message out there. And then, shoot, I'm wide awake now.
Right, because you're in your flow, you're in your passion. What you did for 8 hours was work. That wasn't your purpose and your passion. You worked for 8 hours. Yeah, you're gonna be tired. That was your job. But when you get in a position where you're in your flow and you're in your passion, all of a sudden you notice you perk up. You're like, all right, here we go, we ready. We doing this now, you know?
As soon as we press record.
And I think the problem with culture and society is that we put too much emphasis on jobs.
Yes.
Instead of putting the emphasis truly on our purpose.
Yes.
And what I tell people is that you don't start work until after you get off of work.
Yes.
You know, that's when you start working. So if you're working a 9 to 5, that's just your job. At 5:30 is when you begin to work and start working towards those goals and working towards your purpose, which will then give you the energy not only to accomplish your purpose, but it will make you a better person at your job. Right. Because you know that I don't have to deal with this person for X amount of years. Right. You see what I'm saying?
My purpose is forever.
Yeah. I got, I'm getting closer and closer and closer to be able to switch up. And so, I think that as long as you find your gift set, and as long as you find your purpose, your God-given purpose, right? And it's not about making money, because that's not a purpose. Yeah. Right. That is not a purpose. If it's about your purpose and what you were created to do, then you will have a successful life.
Right. Beautiful. I love it.
The illusion of money is that it gives you a successful life, or once you get the money, then you're successful. But
or you get the money and you're happy.
Yeah, but it's no, I completed a task that I've been dreaming about.
Exactly.
I love it. That's beautiful. So, you have time?
34.
Perfect. So one of my next questions for you is what are some of the biggest blessings that have came out of you starting your pastor journey? Like what, besides, seeing your church grow and, knowing that you help somebody else, for you personally, what are some of the biggest blessings that you received?
I think for me personally is, besides, we help a lot of people. I think it's the personal growth, the challenges that comes with it. When I look back at who I was a few years ago to where I'm at now, it's definitely a blessing. My family, my marriage is definitely a blessing to me, especially coming out of a divorce situation. And even before my parents, made it official, they lived as divorcees married, if you understand what I'm saying. One was upstairs, the other one was in the basement. So, and the kids were in the middle. So, to have a family that is that we love each other, and that's a blessing for me. Right. And to be a blessing to other people, and is huge for me too. And then the confidence that I get from God, knowing that I'm doing what I'm created to do. Right. So that's those things are blessings for me, because in my early part of my years, man, it was all about getting that dollar, and I would do anything and everything, and I did do anything and everything to get it. But I never felt satisfied. Right. I never felt like I had value. But being a pastor and being on that path that God called me, it just gives you such a value, something like you feel good. Right. You know what I mean? That confidence and that peace, that this is where He wants me, this is where I belong. Right. And that's the biggest blessing I can definitely think of.
I love that. What about you, Miss Ivri?
I think biggest blessing is, I would agree with character development. I do think that being involved with church work and so many people that you encounter, it helps you to develop your character and see things about yourself that you didn't think was something you needed to fix. But then you kind of figured out later, like, wait a minute, that's not that didn't work. I think dealing with people in that way and trying to do it Jesus's way, it really develops your character. Because you really want to fall back on whatever it was that the world taught you, how to react, what to say, like what would you do in that situation. Right. And when you have to do it the way that Jesus tells you to do it, then that requires a lot of restraint, self-control, patience, love.
Patience and love.
More patience. And so I think for me, like, the biggest blessing is self-development and character development, and recognizing, like, going outside of yourself and not being so self-centered.
Right.
So that you think that everything you do is like, oh, I made sure I did it right. And then you're like, no. Not really. It could have been a little bit better.
You did your best.
I did my best.
You did your best, and I found myself having to, be that. I found myself developing into a different person because of God and because of ministry.
Right. And you probably somebody you never thought you would be before.
Yes. Yeah, especially when it comes to, like, talking, right? Because I'm a super direct person. I've had to learn how to temper my directness. You know what I'm saying? Some people can't handle it.
I understand.
I think I'm being nice, but I'm actually, they're not perceiving it that way, and so that's like one of the things that I've learned how to do through this whole journey, which then helps you to be able to, in other settings, excel. Because that's something that, I realized that, okay. So I think that the blessing of our family, which is really cool. I mean, I love my kids. They're super cool. They're super helpful. It's like awesome to see them developing into these little people who love the community, and love to, help feed people. Even though they do complain, I'm not gonna cap. Not capping. They'll get a little exhausted. Yes, Gabriel. Wow. Gabriel's like, really, Mom? I'm like, yeah, come on. We have to feed the people. We have to every week we gotta feed the people. They're hungry, son.
Right, don't you want to eat every day? That's amazing.
But it's nice to see them involved with, like, the ministry. And then even if, like, later on when they grow up, they're never gonna forget this experience.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's going to be like, even if they fall away and they decide, well, I don't really want to do community service, I'm tired of feeding people. There's going to be a moment in their adult life where they're going to be like, you know what? That was really rewarding. I just didn't realize it at the time. Yeah. Let me go feed some people.
Yeah. That's beautiful. You're raising, like, ultimate values that can't be taken away. Yeah. That's like you said. It's in their spirit and their heart now. I think that's beautiful. Oh, okay. So, sort of selfish question for me now.
Okay.
So recently I've been reading my Bible a lot more recently. I've been trying to read every morning and stuff. And I guess I'm just curious on, like, definitely going through all the Psalms I'm going through right now. I literally just finished the chapter of Psalms. The book of Psalms.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
So I was just curious on, like, what is the ultimate Psalms that you feel that everybody needs to go read?
For me, I mean, one of the most famous ones that we all know is Psalms 23.
Yes.
I think that at first on surface, it may be super common sense, but when you start to break it down, it really shows the reason why David is so in love with Christ.
Right.
I mean, just in the first line, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. It just talks about the relationship that, we need to have.
Beautiful.
You see what I mean? Yeah. So, and then, just the submission that we need to have, and where we are and where he is, and to realize that that's the answer to all our needs. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just in that whole thought is huge.
Beautiful.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I love that you just said that verse exactly. So I'm taking a class with Adam right now, like a little Sunday class, and literally the first Sunday, that's exactly what he said. Everybody needs to go in their Bible and highlight that Psalms, and you need to memorize it and really, like, absorb it. So every day now I've been reading that Psalms over and over, trying to just absorb it.
It's deep, bro.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's short, but it's so deep, though.
So so this is the first time I'm kind of announcing it to the public, but I am working on my second album.
Okay.
It's going to be called IP Address.
Okay.
The IP stands for Inner Peace.
Okay.
So
Inner peace address.
Inner peace address.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
cool.
within that, I kind of want to do like interviews, a couple skits and stuff like that. But I asked one of my homies, you know, because I reconnected with him. It seemed just too perfect to like not conduct the interview right then and there. And we were just talking about peace, and we were just dissecting it. And one of the things we just kind of broke it down to was having peace. Like, you can't have it without God. Like, it's just too much of a big question. But if you need God, He gives you peace. But the need to not want.
Yes.
Right.
I shall not want. Exactly.
I shall not want.
Right.
Because I have God.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's
There's a reason why. You have the source of all.
Exactly.
If you have the source of all,
then you.
what are you wanting for?
Yeah.
Right.
Nothing.
And then you're in peace.
Yeah.
See, so I think what's really like hitting me in that song right now is the fear aspect. You know, even though I walk through the shadow of valley of death, I shall fear no evil.
Right.
You know, He
For
walks
thou
with
is
me. With His staff, and it's like
that rod and staff.
Yeah, and it's like
So I would say tomorrow when you look at it again, read it backwards.
Oh wow!
Like,
So you read it from 6 to 1.
Let me write that down.
If you read it from 6 to 1, then it just because then verse 1 will mean even more, and it answers the question of why he is in a space of I don't need anything. Because, you know, one kind of when we start, of course, obviously you work from 1 down.
Right.
But I happened to look at it backwards, and then it was like, well, no wonder. If He's restoring my soul, if He leads me down the green pastures, if His rod and His staff has comforted me when I'm in a rough situation, right?
Make the table in front of my enemies.
Yeah, He's preparing a table, then of course I don't want nothing.
Right.
I got it.
Because He's my shepherd.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
Oh wow, that's deep. That's deep. I love it.
Yeah. So.
I really love that.
I mean, Psalm 23, I think it's just such a great psalm, and I think everyone should, you know, take a moment to really look at it. Of course, I have other books of the Bible that is very, very meaningful, but I think out of the Psalms 23 is powerful.
Understandable.
Yeah.
So could you? Okay, so I know you love John, right?
I love John.
Okay. So you can include John, but what would you say your like a recommended book and like
I was about
chapter?
to say that next. Yeah.
Since you kind of like brushed upon like you have other ones, but like what's another one?
Well, I mean, like I said, I love the Book of John. I mean, my journey that the Book of John changed me. That was definitely a turning point in my own spiritual walk, because I was the guy who went to church, and I lived a double life for a very long time. You know, I went to church because I had to please my parents.
Right.
But then when I left church, I left God. In fact, I didn't even talk to God half of the time when I was at church. So, but when I started studying the Book of John, I read the book and I studied, and I say this all the time, 3.5 years, one book. We took every verse of that book and just broke it down.
Oh, wow.
And through that experience, oh man, it changed my life, man. It changed my life. And so, I mean, of course, I'm always going to say the Book of John. I mean, the book of Ephesians is powerful. That's a powerful little book that Paul wrote. Philippians, his little epistles are extremely powerful that you should take. And when you read the Bible, you know, don't rush it.
Right.
This is not like speed reading.
Right.
Like, okay, I
read
read
it
it.
to understand it.
Yeah. So what I usually do is, you know, I may take like one verse and just look at every single word, and that's my reading for the week.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean? I'll just look at the verse, I'll break it down, I look at each and every word. Order is important. Another Bible verse or scripture that you guys probably want to take a look at that I look at is the Lord's Prayer. That's another one. Extremely powerful. Yeah, extremely powerful in terms of like for instance, it says, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. That's a powerful thought.
Right.
When you think about prayer, you're thinking about God's kingdom coming down and allowing his will to be done. And the location is powerful, on earth.
That's heaven.
And the finale or the end product will be the same as heaven. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a powerful thought. When you think about when you're praying, when you're asking God to come into your space and give me a peace like heaven. Let your will be done. Do it. I'm going to get out the way now.
Right. Do it your way.
And do it your way. And that whole phrase is extremely powerful, about the kingdom of God and what that looks like and the benefits of the kingdom. So that's another one that,
Right.
Don't get me started now, because now my mind is starting
You're hitting me deep right now, because it's like, that's what I've really been trying to practice, is really just getting out of my way. And, and I be saying every time I walk in the morning, like, I don't know if I told you, as I walk in the morning, I always say prayer as I walk into work. And like, as I'm walking down, like, make sure I'm walking your steps that you want me to walk. Right. Like, I want to walk the path that you have placed for me, not the path that I want to go, or what. I want to walk the path that you have for me. Whatever you bring to me, I know you brought it for a reason. You make me somehow stronger in some way, some shape, some faction.
For sure.
So I'm not going to fear from it. I'm going to accept it and go with it. So
just be thankful for it.
Be thankful for the opportunity to go through it.
Because I've been like walking with him a little bit, and I need to be more in communication with him. But I will say, just the peace in the tribulations that like I view as a tribulation is like, it's so different now. Like I have anxiety about it, but I'm chilling.
I have peace with it. Exactly.
And it's such a weird thing, because like I'm allowed to be human because I have these anxieties, but then it's like I'm not letting it bother me, because like even before like I came to pick up Adrian, I'm just like, I'm tired. I have my mind on something else right now. God, like, do what you need to do. Do what you need to do. Like, this is what I'm feeling right now. Whatever happens. I know it's for me because it's coming from you. But like, I may still feel it, but I know you're gonna get me right. And then it's just, it is what it is. And then you keep moving.
And then that what you're talking about is the peace of God that passes all understanding. Right? So the peace of God comes upon you from what you understand your circumstances right now.
Right.
My circumstance is that I'm tired. And I got all of these other things on my mind. So it makes you feel like it required you to act a certain way, but for some reason you're not. Right. I'm not doing it because it's like the peace of God that passes the understanding of what is happening in your environment right now. Why am I at peace when all of these other things are happening? That's the peace of God. It passes all understanding.
Pass all understanding. I can't explain it myself.
I can't.
No way to explain it.
You can't explain it, because truly, it's not our peace. It's His. You see what I mean? Our peace is easily disturbed. But what can disturb God?
Up on the throne, just chilling.
He has all the answers. He knows what's happening.
He knows it.
He's unbothered.
He's unbothered. I think the biggest issue that we have to have, even for myself, is stop putting the expectations of what we think God needs to do or His will, and just realize that His plan is the plan. And that it's going to be unrecognizable, it's going to be uncomfortable, it's going to be out of our realm, because He's coming from a different perspective. You know what I'm saying? And when when we study the Word of God together, and when we begin to study and look at His Word, then we'll start to have a better idea of identifying what His will is, so that when it comes around, our expectation will be at ease. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why study is so important. Study is really, the Bible. I got an iPad. That's funny.
Looking like the church.
The reach for his Bible was like, wait a minute.
That's an iPad. But the Bible truly is what some people say is the manual. It really is the owner's manual. The more we read about it, the more we understand the Creator.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And understand how we function.
Right.
And how we are between the Creator and the creation when we learn and read the manual.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I truly understand, because so it takes me back to, I just finished the book of Job, of course.
Okay.
And then that just always got me, because, he's sitting there having a back and forth conversation with his friends at first, and everybody trying to understand it. And then finally he goes and talks to God, and God is like, bro, you can't understand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I know you want to understand, but there's no way you'll understand this. You know what I'm saying? You have to worry about this, that, the third, the water drops, the rain drops. It's so much stuff that goes off at one time.
Right.
And I got it all under control, though. So it's like, just relax, man. It's all right. I got you.
It's all good. Yeah, it's all good.
I love it.
So, one question I have for you too, because talking to some of my other friends that aren't necessarily ready to accept the faith, but they're like slowly walking in, or if anybody's been listening to this episode and you've been touched in some way and want to start walking that journey into the manual, the Bible, what would be a good place to start? Would it be a good place to start in Genesis, or would, I've heard some places it's good to start in or John or Matthew with the beginning of Jesus' journey? What would you recommend?
Yeah, I think the Gospels would be a good place. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, understanding who Jesus is. I did for a year, I just read all of Jesus's words. If it's you get a Bible that has red lettering, and the red lettering represents the actual words of Jesus. Learn Jesus's character. Learn who he is. Learn it for yourself.
Right.
Because I would say go, you can go online or look at some YouTubes and this, that, and the third. And of course that's helpful. But I would start there. I would definitely develop a relationship with Christ.
Right.
Because that's what's going to really get you to a place where you can find a space to fellowship with people that is on the same level. Find a church that is just about Christ.
Right.
It's not about, you wearing your white gloves and your top hat and your gaiters, what I mean?
Alligators.
You know what I'm saying? It's not about that. It's not about, is it just teched out, at the end of the day, go to a place that is talking about Jesus Christ. So I would start there, and I would definitely start searching out places to where you can connect and learn.
Right.
You know what I mean? And be around people. You know what I mean? Be around people who are trying to have a deeper relationship with Christ.
Right.
And that will take you far, of course, because God is going to open up every single door that he already planned to open for whoever is seeking him out.
Right.
Right. If you're ready to receive, then he's going to give ample opportunities for you to receive. And then he meets you where you're at. So even if you're just taking a baby step, you got 1 foot in and you're like, oh, I need to get to know Jesus. Let me try this out a little bit. Right. God is going to send all of these people your way. He's going to send you a podcast. He's, who just happens to be talking about Jesus today. You know what I mean? He's gonna drop all of these seeds for you to go and follow and be fruitful. Right. So I definitely think too, the Gospels are good because it shows Jesus's walk while he was here, which is his example for us. Right. And it shows his power, and it shows his relationship with the Father. So there is a lot of the Gospels I think are really cool.
I was gonna say, as you guys were saying that, something a verse came to mind, and I don't remember exactly which verse it is, but it was no one knows the Father except
for
the Son,
Yes.
and nobody knows the Son except those He chooses to reveal Him.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's kind of powerful that you would start with the Gospels of Jesus, and then to go back to figure out who God was from the first half.
Yeah, because the like in the book of John chapter 1 verse 14, it says the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen the Father, full of grace and truth. So when you study Christ, you're actually getting to know who God really is.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And through that understanding, then when you look in the Old Testament, and you'll start to really see the beauty of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? As opposed to looking at it from a different angle and be like, man, this guy's pretty mean. You know, he's killing all these people. What is going on? What's happening here? Man, what kind of God I'm going, you know? You know what I mean?
That.
So I just think that, get to know who Christ is, get to know who Jesus is, because Jesus is the way, He's the truth and the life, man. You get to know Him. He's the one who died for our sins, He's the one that came off His throne, and so that you and I can have eternal life.
Right. I love it. So look, I need to probably go do mine. I grabbed the Bible literally with the mindset of I'd never read the Bible page by page. So I literally started at page 1. And I'm going page by page.
Awesome.
Right.
So,
Cool.
Do your journey, brother.
Yeah, but that's what I say though. My journey works for me, like how you said, what works for you too. So
do your journey, man.
I love it.
Yeah, the best advice I could say is just take your time. It's not a contest.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not about, hey, I read the Bible from Genesis and Revelation in a year, or it's
been longer than a year so far.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Like, just to read it and take your time. Have a journal and just write the verse out and start asking questions. Well, why this? Why that? Why this? Why? And through that you'll just discover things, and God will begin to reveal things to you that will blow your mind.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. So I know we're running close to our end time now. Cool. So I have just a few more questions for you guys. So one of my first questions is what is, or is there an end game for, your ministry, your pastoring? Like, is there an actual end game at all, or is just, this is life now?
Well, yeah, this, for me personally, and, my family, this is who I am. What I'm working at right now is legacy. So that when I pass, not only will my kids have something that they can latch onto, but the goal for Judah in the house of Judah is to be here in the city of Las Vegas when Jesus comes, however long that is.
Right.
To have a place where people can, find hope, find Him. So, it's, I'm just have a little part. I believe that my part here on earth is just to lay the foundation. I pray that, as I get older and as this ministry becomes more rooted in this community, that God is going to bring more people in to raise it up and sustain it so that it can be a beacon of hope.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And then my next question is you're on the Just Keep Swimming podcast, so we ask all our guests, where are you still currently swimming to? So I know you just talked about like the ultimate end game, but I guess like the next year or so, like where are you still trying to swim to?
Cool. Yeah. We're still swimming. We're still far. It doesn't seem like we do. I mean, people don't realize that together we move mountains together.
Yeah.
If we're together, we can get pretty far in a year.
Yeah.
So
and y'all did last year.
Right. So last year's goal, Last year's goal was to get 4 ministry homes. That was last year's goal. We wanted 4 ministry homes. We wanted our food pantry to keep running and providing, food. We provide food from our church for like hundreds of people every week. So that was just to keep that going and keep it going. So we got the 4 ministry homes through God. He did it. He gave us the strength. We did it.
Right.
this next coming year, we want to get 2 more ministry homes. So we're still swimming that way. We want to be able to open up a more of a bigger community food pantry. So that would be open more than just Saturday.
Right.
It would be open different times of the week so that we can serve the 89123 area code. Because food scarcity is a huge thing in every area code. Zip code, I meant. Every zip code, thank you. Zip code. In every zip code in Las Vegas, people are starving. There's a food scarcity. It doesn't matter if you go to Summerlin, you go to Henderson, someone in those areas are starving. Right. So here we have some seniors that we can minister to with food, and some kids, families, children and families that need food. So we're trying to get that pantry. We're trying to get a location for that pantry so that it can be open more than just 1 week. And then we'll be able to serve the community in a bigger way. So we'll be able to provide a lot of, we can point them to a lot of social services, help them with different things that they need in order to get their life back in order. So that's kind of our goal for this year. We're trying to take little small bites to get to that bigger, thing. But, we're looking at the calendar too, like, okay. we're it's February, it's the end of February. Okay, all right, where are we at? So we're always doing like a little pulse check on where we need to go. But we want 2 more ministry homes and a bigger food pantry is what we're aiming for.
That's goal.
That's a great goal.
So we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, eventually, maybe 5 years, we can have a community center, which would be really cool. I know we have our eye on opening up a community center a little bit further downtown, and that would be really cool,
especially in the heart of the city.
Where we could provide maximum amount of help.
Right.
So that's one of our 5-year goals too.
Beautiful. I love it. And then last but not least, we always ask our guests to leave a quote for the episode. So I was wondering what quote you guys can possibly leave with us today. I mean, think some point.
Something simple.
Something simple.
Well, my quote is this: God is love.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice
God
and simple.
Is love. It's real simple.
And that's my favorite book. 1 Corinthians 13. Same name I created my name after for music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome.
That's tight. No, that's beautiful you said that. So, like I said, the class I'm taking, he literally says, God is love and the soul is truth. So, just get into that love, let go of the hate and just focus on the love.
Cool.
I love it so much. Do you guys like to share the address of your church and everything, so whoever's listening can possibly come visit?
Also the Facebook page, but I'll send that to you.
Oh the Facebook page is gonna be in the bio for sure.
Sure. So we're at 1370 East Robindale, Las Vegas, Nevada 89123.
Okay.
You could think Windmill and 215 if you're in Las Vegas. That's kind of the area that we're in.
Okay.
1370 East Robindale. Our Facebook page is Judah LV. House of Judah.
House of Judah.
House of Judah. Our website is
JudahLV.church.
JudahLV.church. And the pastor's Instagram is the People's Pastor.
Yes.
Okay, I like that. People's Pastor.
People's Pastor.
And then services on Saturday?
On Saturday. 11 to 1.
Yep.
Got it.
Services on Saturday, 11 to 1. So, you can come if you want to get some early church in during football season. Come on.
Come on down. Watch the game on Sunday with no issue.
Gotcha.
I love it. So, Pastor James, Miss Ivri, I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining us today. I felt you guys dropped so much knowledge. A lot of things you guys were sharing, it hit me for sure. And I know you helped somebody out there in the world in a different way that you probably not used to, but I'm sure you helped somebody for sure. So I truly appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much for having us.
Great to be here. This is super
this was fun.
cool. Many blessings on Just Keep Swimming.
Oh, thank you.
Coming your way.
We'll
be praying for you guys.
Oh, appreciate you so much. Bros, you already know. Thank you for another amazing episode, man.
Of course.
Thank you for setting this up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You set this up, so I appreciate you for doing this.
I was waiting, and then someone just hit me with the perfect time, and I was like, yeah, we'll do it now.
Awesome.
So, yeah, thank you again, and
Not
I'll see you guys on Saturday.
Awesome.
Yeah,
All right,
see you there.
man. You take care.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
And then everybody out there listening today, hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. You heard the IG, you already know our IG. Make sure to sign up for your Audible book trial if you haven't got it yet. It's going to help out the podcast as well. Clothing line coming soon. And with that being said, hope you guys had a wonderful day, a marvelous afternoon, a splendid evening, and remember to just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming.
I got to say it.
Just
Keep swimming.
Hey.
Jesus said, I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because you have hidden these things from the wise and learned, and revealed them to little children. Yes, Father, for this is what you were pleased to do. All things have been committed to me by my Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and those to whom the Son chooses to reveal him. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light.